Oh, yeah, this is the live verbal disclaimer, and there's a written one as well. Okay? Let's see. I made this a short show because it's an emergency show. We're not going to spend any more time on the problem. The worldwide community of humanity knows there's a problem. All right? And the problem is an unchallenged, unaccountable, humanity destroying, which is attached to our economy. But right now I'm worried about my family, and I'm sure you guys are worried about your families, which all of us do have a right to do. Not since slavery and Jim Crow and the fame of soldiers and fallen heroes of the civil rights movement have we needed heroes now. This is literally an attack on humanity. What is this? This is the unaccountable, so pompous, so arrogant, functioning like thug-style gangs in our lower districts, in our jurisdictions, in our courts, where they become so pompous and so arrogant and form relationships where their family members and relatives and friends work in the sheriff's office and the local police office, where that they honestly feel that they're so unaccountable that they feel that they can practice law by threats, terrorism, and now racist statements, you know. So that's the problem. The problem is that. Now, as of this morning, the people that are following me know that I did a video showing that the sheriff's office was here this morning. We were committed to defending our grandkids. We did not give them entry. This is a federal matter. This is also the United States attorney has been notified, and not only notified, provided with proofs of the illegality of the 817 order that Timothy E. Vicente is trying to intimidate us into complying with. Once you prove something was criminal, and this is criminal, I'm very shocked that he's so concerned about what's true and not true now when he conspired with Fern Brown Kaplan, and we have proven that, to destroy 47 pages of evidence, including plaintiff protective grandparents' 11-page affidavit and exhibits A through H that prove the father, his client, his addiction-impaired client, is very much in need of drug and alcohol treatment. But instead of doing the ethical thing and mandating him to a drug and alcohol treatment program where he could be a good father for his kids, they see an opportunity to store even more money out of him and are so pompous and so arrogant and feel they're so untouchable, they actually put it in writing. Timothy Vicente put it in writing that he thinks the kids should stay with Eric's new girlfriend, even though we have proofs that he doesn't really stay there and he's abandoning his kids all the time. And nobody ever tried to prove, they never even honored anybody's constitutional rights, ours specifically, as to why the children need to leave their only home that they've ever known anyway with the protective grandparents and the mother. But why do they have to leave? They have to leave for financial incentive. That's the only reason. The order, 817 order of Fern Brown Kaplan, Lisette Sheridan Harris, and Timothy E. Vicente is all financially incented and well documented by people other than ourselves. Georgia Nancy Schaefer, look at that. Look at Anonymous. Look at there's so many of them. Just look at the Center for Judicial Excellence. They have a wonderful documentary out. The trailer is available at CJE Marin. Just punch in CJE into your search engine, and you can see they actually have court employees telling you step by step that the incentive is to draw it out as long as possible. They get federal funding of $4,000 a month and an additional $2,000 if they can disable the kids through forced medications, psychotropic chemicals, and if they place them with another family. It's all financially incentive, and they're so big, so fat cat, they don't feel they even have to respond to your proofs, right? And they feel that they can use their friends to commit terror. Now, the United States Attorney's Office, official corruption, terrorism falls under there. And there's a federal law that says that civilians being terrorized by the ones that they're accusing of harming them have a right to protection. So these people are trying to strong-arm us. Vicente, Kaplan, let me say their full names. I want to just demonstrate how important it is to post their identities without fear. Use the internet technologies, and this window of time where the current presidential administration is platforming accountability and trying to send progressive huge amounts of stimulus money our way, use this accountability, this window of time, to prove who's siphoning criminally the money? Who's taking it away from us? They're not just taking the stimulus funding away from us, diverting it. They're taking our money, our wages, the protective plaintiffs, the protective grandparents, the protective fathers, the protective mothers. They're taking that away from us, along with our right to protect our kids. And they're actually filling orders for pedophiles. It's an industry. It's the one industry. They're feeding and supplying a demand for the sex industry and sex trafficking, human trafficking, white slavery, modern-day slavery. That's what this is about, okay? So we need heroes. Now, some of us aren't going to do our heroic work out in public aggressively, because the ones that are out in public are going to be the ones that fall. They're going to be the ones that really suffer the police brutality and the permanent injuries from police brutality. That they openly threaten us with home invasion. I tell them that I have a constitutional right not to open my door to you. We're no longer under your jurisdiction. We have proven you are our defendants. You broke every constitutional law. But they're such thugs, and no one's held them accountable yet. So they feel that they can continue breaking every constitutional law and let you worry about it later. Any ethical attorneys or law firms with a PACER login, go to United States Eastern District Court and punch in these people's names, and you will see that they ride out gang style. They ride out wolf pack style. They have been sued no less than 7 times as various combinations of a group. They were defendants for all civil rights violations, every single one of them. Lisette Sheridan Harris, Elizabeth Jackson, Fern Brown Kaplan, and the sheriff's office, Sheriff D. Green specifically, and then some of his deputies, right? The deputy in the sergeant in Sheriff D. Green's office that calls and terrorizes us and says they're going to do whatever it takes, police brutality, and break down our doors and everything. Now, this morning, 9/9, the sheriff was at the door. We told him we don't have to let you in. We're not under jurisdiction. And it's the United States Attorney General has proof that this is 817 criminal order. The order is criminal. You can actually, just because a person works for a court, just because they have the word Esquire after their name or custody master or PhD, it doesn't mean that they can't commit crimes. They premeditate crimes, they conspire, and they willfully, recklessly endanger. When anybody tells you that your kid, that we know the father is unfit, we know that, we're just going to squash all your evidence, and we're going to take our own drug test, and even our own drug test comes back positive, but we're going to move the court date back to January 25th and say let the kids take their chances in a stranger's house who's on the hearing disabled, has multiple car accidents that she's litigious and suing for, and we're going to take all the mother's benefits and give him full custody so she can now become the foster mother. That creates welfare fraud, it creates Social Security disability fraud, and Internal Revenue Service fraud, all right, so they can steal the earned income credit. And they already have 5 other, in this particular house, they already have 5 other kids and her older son, 13-year-old, and 18-year-old daughter. And when I was talking to Sergeant Muse while he was threatening me on the phone, I said, we're concerned about our grandchildren being hurt by older kids, raped and hurt and molested by older kids, in an overcrowded house, and she can't hear. And the father is drug addicted and abandons the kids. And she's functionally illiterate, right? And something's wrong with her mentally, too, mentally disabled. So he tells me, well, have they been raped yet? That's what he's asked me. Well, let me just ask you this. Have they been raped yet? And another quote that came from the sheriff's office. Do you know, quote, do you know what happens to people who try to keep their children from their fathers? These people are all related. Sergeant Muse is related to Honorable Lisette Sheridan Harris. Fern Brown Kaplan is said to be the best friend by Gloria Allred in a CBS 48 Hours interview where she's promoting her book, her latest book. Punch names in search engines. And the community of victims, the CPS victims, the DHS victims, the family court victims in all jurisdictions, what we need to do is aggressively use the Internet technologies and the social networking technologies now, Facebook and MySpace, satellite radio shows, the talk show, all of these, to get the word out, to expose these people's identity, expose our accounts of the crimes against them, talk about what they really took from us, and then use the Internet technologies to develop a publicly viewable U.S. citizens database that will leverage accountability, not just criminal accountability, but we can pull